That morning, I was feeding the horses, as I always did. Then, from the village center, a noise broke through the quiet, shouting, sharp and urgent, laced with tension I could feel in my bones. I dropped the feed basket and ran. What I saw at the sacred stone took the breath from my lungs. A man, clearly not from any tribe I knew, knelt in the dirt with his wrists bound tightly and dried blood marking the side of his face, while my people surrounded him like wolves torn between fear and the instinct to strike. My father, the chief, had already made his judgment. The stranger was a harbinger of misfortune, and he would be sacrificed to calm the spirits. But when his eyes met mine, something in me shifted. There was no anger in them, no pride or hate, only fear, bare, and deeply human, the kind that speaks beyond words. In that silent moment, I saw a plea I couldn't ignore. So I turned to my father, approached him quietly and whispered, asking him to spare the man's life. My father considered me for a long moment, then turned back to the man.
Because my daughter is merciful, your life will be spared. Remember this gift.
I approached the man and untied his ropes, my hands trembling slightly as I did so. I didn't know then that this simple act of kindness would become the thread that unraveled everything I believed to be safe. His name was Edmund. In the days that followed, I visited him in secret. He was weakened by injury and hunger, so I brought him food, healing herbs, and simply sat with him when he needed nothing but quiet company. Slowly, as trust began to form, he told me about his world, a place beyond the sea, where cities glowed through the night and people lived not under the rule of spirits or chiefs, but free, each person carving their own path. He placed a small, time-worn compass into my hand, saying it had always pointed him toward hope. Then, with a tenderness that caught me off guard, he looked at me and called me his wild queen. It was a name that unsettled and intrigued me all at once. And when he asked me to leave with him, to cross the ocean and see that world for myself, I felt a sudden thrill rise within me. The old, buried longing for something more than duty and tradition. Even so, I turned him down. My heart wasn't ready to part with the only home I had ever known. That changed the day my father announced my marriage to Nakoma, an elder from an allied tribe. I had never met him. I was told he was strong, wise, and a valuable alliance for peace. But none of that mattered to the part of me that wanted to be seen. Not as a daughter or a bride, but as myself. I didn't want a life chosen for me, wrapped in expectation and silence. So I went to Edmund, and for the first time I said yes. We left in the dark, with only the compass and the sound of waves for company. As the shoreline faded, I told myself I wasn't running. I was choosing. I believed that somewhere out there, beyond the sea, freedom was waiting. At first, everything dazzled me. England was louder, faster, stranger than I'd ever imagined. There were buildings that reached into the clouds, voices that echoed in alleys, and colors I couldn't name. But the stairs came quickly, and they stayed. People looked at me with the cold curiosity of collectors studying something exotic, as if I were a creature brought back from the edge of the world to be gawked at and explained away. Only Edmund treated me like I belonged, at least, in the beginning. But slowly, the lines began to blur. He insisted I stay indoors, told me the city was cruel, that the people wouldn't understand me. He said he was protecting me, and I wanted to believe him, even as the walls began to close in, even as my reflection grew unfamiliar. When I finally told him I wanted to return home, my voice was shaking, but firm. He simply smiled and said we would have one last dinner, something special, a farewell. I remember how warm the room felt, how sweet the wine was, how his eyes never left mine as he raised his glass and whispered,
"To us."
After that, darkness took everything. I awoke to darkness, not the kind that comes with night, but the kind that sinks into your bones. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't even feel the rhythm of breath in my chest. But I was still present. I could see. Edmund was standing beside me, humming quietly as he brushed my hair, painted my lips, and stitched my eyelids shut with careful, practiced hands. He whispered as he worked, calling me beautiful, calling me his forever. He treated my body like something sacred, and still something no longer mine.
Everyone at the market called me a thief or a street rat, but I didn't care much. I was just an ordinary guy struggling to get food and survive each day. So what if I stole? I didn't need anyone's approval. This time, I stole the lamp from the antique dealer. I heard it was the most valuable item he was bringing to the noble's auction. But the lamp was old and scratched. I wiped off the dust covering the lamp. Once, twice. By the sixth wipe, the lamp suddenly shook violently. Red smoke poured from its spout. When the smoke cleared, a massive figure with a deep, booming voice appeared before me.
"I'm the genie. You have awakened me from my long slumber, and now you are my master. I shall grant you 3 wishes. But be careful what you wish for, because I will fulfill them in my own way."
I trembled at the genie's appearance, but excitement soon drowned out my fear. Since birth, I'd never owned anything of value. The things I stole barely got me a few coins, just enough for scraps of bread to fill my empty stomach after days of hunger. I wouldn't waste this chance. Without hesitation, I made my first wish. I wished to become the richest man in the kingdom.
Your wish is my command.
That night, as I slept, a strange light jolted me awake. Unbelievable. Treasure chests appeared before me, filled with shiny gold, silver, and jewels. I picked up a gold coin, but my fingers met a sticky, metallic stench, like blood.
You wish to be the richest, and so you are. For there are no wealthy men left. They are all dead.
My grin froze. The treasure chests belonged to the nobles of the kingdom. The genie had slaughtered them all, and now their riches were mine. I glanced at the blood-streaked gold, the metallic scent growing stronger. No matter. They were mine now. I was the richest. From this day on, I'd drown in silk and luxury.
You have 2 wishes left. Be careful what you wish for.
I dressed in fancy silk robes and shiny jewels. Wherever I went, crowds gasped with envy. Then my eyes were drawn to a stunning figure. It was Princess Jasmine. I had all the gold and silver I could ever want, but now I desired more. I wanted her. I wanted to possess the most beautiful woman in the kingdom. I approached the princess and gave her a dazzling gemstone. "Oh, beautiful Princess Jasmine, I fell in love with you at first sight. Will you grant me the honor of being your beloved?"
Silken jewels can't hide your vulgar and lowly nature. Stay away from me. I would never accept a street rat like you.
As she walked away, my pride shattered. I couldn't accept this. I pulled out the lamp and made my second wish. I wished the princess's heart. She must be mine. That night, as I polished my treasure chests, the genie appeared. He dropped a dripping, bloodied heart into my palm.
Your second wish is granted. The princess's love is yours. Remember, you have only one final wish remaining.
News of the princess's murder shocked the entire kingdom. The king ordered soldiers to hunt down the killer in every corner of the kingdom. No, I can't be caught. As I turned to escape, I crashed right into a soldier.
Seize him! This is the suspect seen with the princess!
In my panic, I grabbed the lamp and shouted my final wish. Make me king! I want to rule this kingdom! When I awoke, I was inside the king's palace, but the sight before me was horrifying. The genie held the king's severed head like a trophy. His monstrous grin chilled me to the bone.
Your final wish has been granted. You are now the king of this kingdom.
He tossed the head at my feet. Overwhelmed by terror, I staggered and vomited.
Enjoy your wishes.
Suddenly, the doors burst open. Soldiers stormed inside.
Arrest him! He slaughtered the nobles, the princess, and now our king! We won't tolerate this monster!
Too broken to resist, I let them drag me away. In that moment, I realized that my life was ruined. This was the price for my 3 greedy wishes.